The United States keeps a list of things too dangerous to leave the country. Fighter jet engines, missile guidance systems, the centrifuges that enrich uranium. On a Friday evening in June, it added a piece of software. Then it ordered the company that built that software to pull it back. From everyone, everywhere on Earth, by the end of the night. The company did. The most capable AI it had ever released to the public went dark, and the page that announced it 3 days earlier read, "Temporarily unavailable." No government had ever reached into a live AI product, used by people all over the world, and switched it off. It had never happened. Until Mythos. And the public never even had Mythos. Anthropic held that one back. What it released instead was Fable, a filtered version of the same model, the risk already turned down. The government pulled even that. Anthropic built Mythos to do one thing better than anything before it. Read code and find where it breaks. Give it a codebase and it reads every line. Flaws that hid in the foundations of the internet for decades, that survived every audit and every human who ever looked, it found in seconds. Then it wrote the programs to exploit them. In testing, it did this to every major operating system and every major web browser. The model before it found about 500. Mythos found tens of thousands. Anthropic had been warning about it for months. Before outsiders ever touched it, the company went to the government and called it a serious risk to cybersecurity. Then it did something companies almost never do. It refused to sell it. Instead, Mythos went into a locked room. More than 40 organizations, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, the people who maintain the Linux kernel, pointing the world's best flaw finder only at the systems that needed defending. A project they called Glasswing. Mozilla alone used it to close hundreds of holes in its own software. Then, in June, they opened the public version to everyone. The model underneath was powerful enough to help the people defending the world, and powerful enough to help the people attacking it. So Fable would not answer the wrong kind of question. Ask it something dangerous, and a weaker, older model replied in its place. That was the reputation. The most dangerous model ever built, handled like plutonium. Then came the part that did not add up. The letter never said what the danger was. What Anthropic was told, out loud, was that someone had found a jailbreak, a way around Fable's safeguards. The method: ask the model to read a codebase and find the flaws in it, the thing it was built to do. Anthropic said the jailbreak turned up minor, already known bugs that free models find too, that no one had shown it any real harm, and that the whole thing was a misunderstanding. The company that spent a year calling its own models too dangerous was now arguing the government had overreacted. So people started filling in the gap themselves, and almost none of the explanations were kind. The first was the simplest: Payback. 4 months earlier, the same government had already moved against Anthropic. The military wanted its models. Anthropic asked that its AI not be wired into autonomous weapons or turned on Americans through surveillance. The Pentagon refused, branded the company a supply chain risk, and banned the military from using it. Anthropic is suing over it now. To a lot of people, a Friday night recall over a jailbreak that is not a jailbreak looked like a government settling a score, with safety as the cover story. Then a darker reading of Anthropic itself. The company had built its name on danger. For a year it told the world these models were too powerful, too risky, almost too much to release. So critics asked the obvious question: if you sell fear as a feature, how much of the fear is real and how much is marketing? A model declared too dangerous to exist, days before the company is expected to go public, is either a warning or an advertisement. The money made it murkier. Anthropic is heading into one of the largest stock offerings in tech history. One camp called the timing a disaster, a government slap right before the bell. The other camp said the opposite, that nothing sells a frontier AI lab like being the one whose model the government had to physically shut off. Then the theory that worried other countries. Anthropic had already refused to give Mythos to the Chinese government months before. Now an American order was cutting every foreigner on the planet off from the model, including Anthropic's own employees. The AI researcher Gary Marcus pointed out that this could backfire badly, that the fastest way to send China's best researchers home was to show them they could be locked out of an American lab overnight. A move meant to protect an American lead might end up giving it away. And then the strangest theory of all, that some of the people quietly relieved by the shutdown were inside the safety movement itself. People who believe these models are an existential threat, who have spent years arguing the whole field should slow down. To them, a government that switches off the most powerful AI on the market is not a villain. It is the first real break anyone has managed to pull. Some suspected that relief reached into Anthropic's own halls. Underneath all of it, one question nobody could answer. Who found the jailbreak? The order traced back to a claim by another company, never named, that it had broken Mythos and alarmed the government into acting. A competitor, possibly, making the call that pulled a rival's flagship off the market. Online, the takes ran from one user calling it a 9/11 for tech to a single word of pure confusion. Which leaves the questions no one in this story will answer. If the model was dangerous enough to pull from every person on Earth, why is it still running inside 40 companies? If it was harmless enough that free downloads do the same thing, why did a government reach for the tool it keeps for weapons? And if the safeguard falls apart the moment you ask the model to do the one thing it was built for, what was the safeguard ever protecting? A company built a mind that can find the weakness in any system on Earth. A government proved it can erase that mind overnight. The model was not unbuilt. It was switched off. The most powerful AI ever released to the public lasted 3 days. And the only people who know whether that was protection or punishment are the two sides that will never tell you.